Hey everybody, welcome to topic 13, operation of decimals. So in this video, we will take a look at how to add, subtract, and multiply decimals. So let's do add and subtract first. Add and subtract decimals, okay? It's just like adding and subtracting whole numbers, okay? So we got to make sure we align the digits by the place value, okay? So add and subtract just like, add and subtract decimals is just like add and subtract whole numbers. So make sure we line up these digits by the place value. So there's not, it doesn't really matter if you want to put the longest digit on the top or not, or or you can just put 4.1 by 6 first. So it's whatever your preference is. So I normally like to put the largest number, the decimal number with the most digits put on top. All right, plus 4.156. Okay, just line them up by the place value, 3.7. So whatever your preference is, it doesn't really matter. All right, so that's 8. 8 plus 3 is 13. 6 plus 7 is 13. 14, 15, carry 1. So there's a 9, 10, 13, carry 1, so that's 3. So my answer, 33.538. All right, so again, subtraction, sometimes we have to borrow. So subtraction, it does matter which number go first. Okay, so normally it's the first number goes on the top. Still line them up by the place value, 8.9. All right, so here we will subtract. So 3 subtract nothing, so bring it down. 8 cannot subtract 9, so 8 got to borrow from 7, so that becomes 6. So when it borrow 10. 10 minus 9 is 1. 1 plus 8 is 9. So, or some people will say this is 18 minus 9 is 9. Either way. All right, 6 had to borrow from 1. So this is going to be 16, or I will say 10 minus 8 plus 6 will be 8 again. Or 16 minus 8, same thing, is 8.93. All right, 31.009. 0.534. All right, let's subtract. Oh, by the way, if the bottom number has more digits than the top, when you subtract, you gotta add a 0 so you know to borrow. Okay. All right, 9 minus 4 is 5. 0 cannot subtract 3, so 0 gotta borrow. When it's borrow 10. This 0 gotta borrow from the 1, so this 0 becomes 9 because when this middle 0 got to borrow from the 1, it's borrow 10, but you got to give 1 away to the buddy to the right. So that's why it becomes 9. So this is going to be 7, 4, 0, subtract 0, 0, and bring the 3 down. 30.45475. All right, so it's just like add and subtract whole numbers. All right, multiplying decimals is just like multiply whole number. It's just like whole numbers. Now, this is a little bit tricky. After we multiply decimals, we're going to count the decimal places. So the way we're going to do it is, it's actually don't line them up. We're just going to pretend we're going to multiply them like whole numbers. Okay. I'm still going to write down the decimals, but as I'm multiplying, I'm treating them almost just like multiplying whole numbers. So 4.8 times 0.25. I don't have to line them up, because the lining up part of it is actually when I start counting the decimal places at the end. All right, so I'm treating this just almost like 48 times 25. All right, 5 times 8 is 40, carry 4. 5 times 4 is 20, plus 4 is 24. 2 times 8 is 16, carry 1. 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9. All right, so I add them up. 0, 10, 12. Okay, it's 1200. But I need to count the decimal places, okay? Because I didn't line them up. So that means at the end, I got to count the decimal place. When I count the decimal place simply means the decimal number I have has how many decimal places together. So 8 takes up 1 place, 2 has 1 place, 5 has 1 place. So altogether, I need to count 3 decimal places. So if I'm treating this like 1200, okay, that means the decimal is at the very end. So if I count 3 places back, 1, 2, 3, the decimal should be located between 1 and 2. So that means my answer is actually only 1.2. Okay. So we don't have to line them up when we multiply decimals, but at the end we got to count the decimal places, okay, to actually, so we know exactly where the decimal is supposed to go on the answer. All right, 0.27 times 0.24. All right, so I'm treating this like 27 times 24. So this is 4 times 7 is 28, carry 2. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 2 is 10. 2 times 7 is 14, carry 1. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. All right, add them up, 8, 4, 6. So this time, 0.27 and 0.24, each one has 2 decimal places each. So that means altogether I need to count back 4 places. So this is 1 place. So it's for 648. Decimal should be behind it. That's what I'm counting from behind the last digit. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Decimal should be right here. So that means there's an empty slot in front of the 6. So that should be filling with 0. So that's what my answer got to be 0.0648. All right. All right. We're talking about multiplying whole number by the power of tens. So here we also have the same thing here for decimals. But for decimals, we are thinking about moving the decimal places. Multiply by the power of 10 is actually adding zeros behind the answers. Here, when we multiply by 10, okay, that simply means we're going to move the decimal to the right 1 place. All right. Multiply by 100 is moving to the right 2 places. Multiply by 100 is actually moving the decimal to the right 3 places. So instead of actually write out as a multiplication problem, we can simply just move the decimal place. A lot of students remember this because this is something that you've done before when you first learned about percent. Okay, so we will talk about it again when we learn how to convert percent into decimals, where we will have to move the decimal places. All right, so this problem times 100, so that means I got to move the decimal to the right 2 places. So for 20.57, moving to the right 2 places, 1, 2, decimal should be behind the 7. So the answer is 2057. Okay, real quick. For 0.47 times 1,000 means move to the right 3 places. So 1, 2, 3. Decimal should be right here. So between the 7 and decimal, there's an empty slot. We're building with 0. So the answer is actually 470. Right? Decimal was in front of the 4. But now moving 3 places to the right, become 470. Let's go over some of the homework problems. I have a few word problems I want to go over with you here too. When adding, subtracting decimal numbers, this is for the homework. Do the digits need to be aligned with the place value? Yes, of course. Okay. When add and subtract decimals, you do have to align the digits. Multiplication, you do not. When multiplying decimal by the power of tens, multiply by 100 means we're going to move the decimal to the right 2 places. All right, consider following addition. So after you add them up, all you got to do is enter the missing value question mark. Okay, so make sure you add them up, see exactly what this digit is. Okay, so you enter that. All right. Consider following multiplication decimals. Okay, do not round. Okay, do not round. So multiply this up, whatever answer it is, enter it in. These word problems, these are multi-step word problems. So that means there's a lot of things going on here that you got to take into consideration. So I'm going to give you a couple of hints here. Maybe it will help. All right, so Zender is paid $8.50 per hour at his full-time job, period. So the way how we read word problem like these are not difficult word problems, but these word problems has a lot of steps. So every sentence you got to think about, okay, what is it trying to tell me? So first sentence need to, eventually will connect it, is part of this, is connected to rest of the problem. So you constantly have to think back, okay, why did they tell me Zender is being paid $8.50? So let's just keep in mind, he's being paid $8.50 per hour. So every hour, $8.50. It typically works from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. each weekday. Okay, so 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. is telling you how many hours he worked. Okay, weekday means Monday through Friday. All right, so it's part of this problem with a 1 hour lunch break. Okay, so this second sentence is telling you how many hours he worked. So with a 1 hour lunch break, so that means from 8 to 12, we can just say 12 o'clock taking a lunch. From 8 to 12 is 4 hours. Come back from lunch 1 to 5 is 4 hours. So that means he works 8 hours a day. So far he worked 8 hours a day, and he's getting paid $8.50 each hour. So for his 1 day, you would just multiply. For 1 day to pay, you will multiply. The job offered no vacation benefits, so if Zender does not work, he does not get paid. All right, what does that have to do with this problem? Well, if you keep on reading, last week he worked his full daily schedule of 8 hours, except for Wednesday, when he left at 3:30. Okay, Zender did take his lunch break that day too. So last Wednesday, he left early, right? And also take his lunch break. So last week, he did not work 5 days. So for 1 day is 8 hours times what? 850, right? So how many? So now you got to think. Okay, last week, how many days did he work? Because Wednesday he only worked part of the day. So now the next step is, okay, figure out. You got to figure out the amount of money he made last week for the 4 full days, plus the 1 day he left early. So remember, he left early and take lunch. Okay, so you got to count that Wednesday how many hours he worked, and then once you figure out how much money he made last Wednesday for leaving early, add on to the 4 days, 8 hours a day times 850. That will give you the answer. All right. Sarah plans to set up a booth at an industry fair. The cost of the booth is $500. Okay, so that's how much she's getting paid. That's how much you got to pay. She got to pay. Additionally, she is planning to give each person who visits the booth a pamphlet about her company and a keychain with the company logo on it. So she's giving out two things: a pamphlet and the company logo. Fair attendance is expected to be around 1,500 people. But Sarah expects that she will have only half that many people stop at her booth. So half of 1,500 people is 750 people. As a result, she only planning to bring pamphlet and keychains for 750 people. So that's half of that 1,500. The cost each. Okay, so here we go. The cost of each pamphlet, okay, is 25 cents, and the cost of each keychain is 75 cents. What will Sarah's overall cost be? All right. So basically, you got to remember now is 750 people, both, all of them gets two things, pamphlet and the keychain. So you got to take the 750 times the 0.25. You got to take the 750 times 0.75, add them up to see how much money she spent just on pamphlet and keychain. But don't forget, at the end, she actually also got to pay for the booth. So that's part of the overall cost. That's what this word is right here means. Overall. Overall means the booth cost plus the pamphlet and the keychain. All right. One more. Murray makes $11.43.50 each pay period, and the payments are deposited into his checking account twice a month. Oh, twice a month. Okay, so this is only one pay period, so you're going to take $11.43.50 times by 2 to see exactly how much money he's getting paid. His monthly expenses currently include $900. All right, for rent, utilities $250, car insurance food cost. Okay, so you got to take that off. You got to subtract off from the monthly pay. The reason why I say monthly because right here at the end, how much money can he put into a saving account each month? So we are operating the pay, for the entire month. Okay, 1143 is only each pay period. He get paid twice a month, so you got to make sure you times two. Then subtract off all his bills. All right here, Murray is trying to put away some money into a separate saving account each month, but he also wants to make sure he has at least $300 left from his monthly expenses. So that means he wants to make sure at the end of the month, okay, he still has $300 left in his checking account. All right, and rest of it after the bills go into a saving account. Okay, so that means we can view this $300 as part of the monthly bill, even though he's not paying out the 300, but he wants to leave the money in his checking account. All right, so that means after he paid all his bills, right? There's amount of money left. All of that money left, take away another $300. He wants to leave it in a checking account. So that means rest of it he can move into savings. All right, so that's the idea. So as you can see, some of these multi-step word problems, you just gotta figure, you just gotta think about how is one sentence, how is one information relate to the next. Okay, so then you can figure out exactly what the question is asking, and how to approach the problem. All right, that will conclude this video. Thank you for watching.